European countries are facing an economic challenge, according to a landmark report by the former president of the European Central Bank, Mario Draghi. The continent's share of global GDP is shrinking, failing to keep up with China and the United States. Deutsche Welle correspondent Marie Sina joins us now from Berlin. Marie, how badly is Europe's economy falling behind?
Well, according to this new report, it's bad. Former president of the European Central Bank, Mario Draghi, highlights that since 2000, the disposable income in the United States has grown twice as fast as in Europe. So after people pay their taxes and their rent, they have much more money to spend in the US than in Europe. And on top of that, productivity in Europe, so the amount of goods and services that are produced, is lower than that in the United States. And Mario Draghi says that a lot of this decline is happening because Europe's economy is stuck in the past. He says that Europe missed out on the digital revolution and that it hasn't diversified its economy. So the European companies that were the biggest companies 20 years ago are still the biggest now, whereas in China and the United States, new tech giants are flourishing. And Europe is simply missing those types of companies. Draghi also points out that Europe is losing its unicorns, not meaning the magical creatures, of course, but startups worth more than $1 billion. 30% of Europe's unicorns end up relocating to the United States. So the extra jobs and money those startups create get lost for Europe.
So what solutions are out there for the continent's economy?
According to this report, what's needed to lift Europe out of its economic decline is money, a lot of money. Draghi says Europe should invest twice as much money into its economy as it did when it was rebuilding after the Second World War. And to get those large sums of cash, Draghi is calling on the EU to take on debt together as a bloc. So for all 27 member states to take on debt together as a group. Right now, that's not within the rights of the EU. Member states take on debt individually. And the report also says that the EU needs to strengthen its tech sector, so make it easier for people to innovate and build new companies, for example, by getting rid of regulations and red tape. And Draghi also stressed that Europe is too reliant on other countries, especially on China. At the moment, Europe depends on China for a lot of its raw materials and technology. And instead, Draghi says Europe should find new suppliers by making new trade agreements with other countries with a lot of resources. So the report is a scathing diagnosis and advises strong medicine.
How is the report being perceived by European capitals?
Well, France and Germany are the two countries people are watching now. They are the biggest countries in Europe and will need to get on board for this plan to even stand the slightest chance. And for Germany, the big red flag in this report is the idea of issuing common debt. Germany has rejected giving more power to the EU, to Brussels, over economic policy in the past. And German Finance Minister Christian Lindner has already come out and criticized the report for exactly this point. German politicians want each member state to continue overseeing their own finances. Now, France is also in a difficult situation because it's currently actually spending too much money, so the state is taking on too much debt. And it will be a tough balancing act in the country to cut back spending on its own economy, but increase spending on the European economy as a whole. So experts are saying that this is a monumental report, no question, but for European countries, for all 27 member states to agree to enact it will be a tremendous challenge.
Deutsche Welle correspondent Marie Sina joining us there from Berlin. There's been a